Hello everybody and welcome to the Spirits channel. I'm Paul James Caden, and in today's video we're going to be talking about religious division. And I'm also going to be doing a spirit box session asking the spirits what they think about all of the religious division in the world today. Once upon a time, spirituality and religion were all about improving ourselves, being better people, resisting the negative and being more open to the good, loving our neighbors as ourselves, doing unto others as we would have them do unto us. Judge not, lest we be judged. But it seems like today, religion has gone in several different directions where it has lost its way. First and foremost, you see many people on the spiritual path or even the religious path, and they're using religion as an avenue to enrich themselves. It's all about the law of attraction, manifesting the car, the house, the job, the money, the relationship that I want. It's all about making ourselves happy with material things. Now, this was never the aim of religion or spirituality. There's nothing inherently wrong with having a good job, having a good relationship, having a happy life, having things that we want. And many times, God blesses us with these things, even despite ourselves. We all have a lot to be grateful for, but it's never the means and the place of religion and spirituality to try to use God as some magical genie in a lamp to get what I want. The other avenue that religion has gone down is the fear factor. There's so many conspiracy theories, and everything is about demons and devils, and everyone's going to hell unless you belong to this group or that group or practice what this particular group teaches. So there's a lot of fear mongering, and this was never the plan of Jesus or Buddha or their followers. They never used such things as demons and hell as a conversion tactic to bring people into religion or spirituality. And so we see on the world stage today, everybody's debating one another. This is the third way in which religion has lost its way. We see the Christians versus the Jews, the Muslims versus the Jews and the Christians against the Muslims. And it's particularly in these Abrahamic faiths that everyone is too busy debating, saying they're wrong and you don't have the right God unless you're following our version of that God. So everybody is overly busy debating, fighting, condemning one another, and it seems religion is doing very little good on the world stage except making itself look bad and turning people off to the notion of finding faith and believing in God. In Spiritism, it doesn't really matter so much what your religion is. Spiritism is largely based around the teachings of Jesus, and you could call it more of a Christianized religion. But Spiritism, it doesn't matter whether you're Jewish, Muslim, Christian, or other, as long as you believe in the supremacy of God, as long as you believe in that supreme being. That's all Spiritism requires. Spiritism also teaches, when it comes to books like the Bible or the Quran, that these books were inspired by God, of course, but they were written by men. And a lot of ideas of the authors crept into the text, and also cultural ideas that may not be fitting for today. So Spiritism does not take the Bible literally, but tells us to read the Bible and take the spiritual lessons from it. And in no way are we supposed to be literalists when it comes to the scriptures. And a lot of people fail to understand that this was the way of the early Christians, that the Bible was largely, as they read it, allegory that taught a great spiritual lesson. And you're constantly reading and uncovering those jewels in the text. There's even a monastic group in the Catholic religion. I believe it's the Benedictines that read the Bible as poetry, but that poetry has deep spiritual truth and lessons that we can learn. Literalism, the Bible as the literal Word of God, is only about 100 years old and is a relatively new interpretation of the scriptures that came on the scene. So we can see where this teaching of literalism has gotten us into a lot of trouble and caused a lot of division. And it's one of the reasons why religion is beginning to lose its way or lost its way, because everybody reads the Bible and interprets it literally in their own way, and many times it's through a very human filter of fear and division and hatred, and considering ourselves to be chosen in some way and everyone else is outside of that special group or special religion. The same could go for the Quran. We read the Quran, there's some wonderful spiritual teachings, but then there are teachings about punishing criminals by cutting off their hands and cutting off their feet and this type of thing. Are we to take that literally? Is this something that society should be practicing today? Some Muslim communities do, some do not. Some take it figuratively. It depends on their interpretation of the Sharia law. But Spiritism goes back to the basics of Christianity and religion and says these are not literal documents. There are ideas of men and cultural ideas that were put into the text, but it's also an inspired text that has a rich spiritual truth and lessons we can learn from. Spiritism also teaches that the main focus of spirituality is to better ourselves, be good people, resist the negative, resist the urgings of evil or bad spirits that tell us to be mean and rotten and steal or violent or whatever the case may be. Do good to others. If you see someone who needs help, help them. But also always work daily to improve yourself, to improve your soul's condition and become a pure spirit. And that is also something that early Christianity taught. It wasn't once saved, always saved, confess Jesus and you're good to go, you have an automatic ticket to heaven. No, it was believing in Jesus Christ, believing in his teachings, and then doing the work to become more saintly, doing the work to become more Christ-like. It wasn't a dead faith that just rested on the laurels of one person to get us into heaven. And it was certainly taught if we didn't do that work, well, we may find ourselves to be a castaway in the end. So Spiritism really does go back to the basics of spirituality and religion. It tells us to believe in God, to adhere to the teachings of Christ, to work on ourselves to become pure spirits, to be good to others, be kind to others. And our main goal is that when we leave this earth, that we rise higher in the spirit world, closer to God. It's not about manifesting, all of these material things that we think we need to be happy and to be comfortable in life. Nor is it about getting on the world stage and pointing fingers at everybody else and telling them how wrong they are, getting on the debate stage with rabbis and apologists and Muslim scholars and duking it out about who Jesus really was, or whose Bible, whose scripture is the truest one, who has the right true version of God, who are the chosen people. Is it the Jews? Is it the Arabs? Is it the Christians? We don't see Spiritism getting into this type of thing. It's simply about practicing the spiritual basics that we've just previously talked about. And this is why in 2024, as many of you know, I made the decision that it was time for me to get back to a simple and pure faith. Something that I know, something that makes me feel less stressed out, less amped up about all of these debates that are going on and the way people act, even religious people. It was time to leave that all behind. And I began 2024 really delving into my studies in mysticism, which led me back into Spiritism, because mysticism and Spiritism, especially a lot of the Sufi mystic teaches and practices, very much agree with Spiritism. And so for me, it was getting back to basics, getting back to simplicity, because the world of religion has really lost its way. And this is something we all need to withdraw from. Not criticizing, not saying people are going to hell or we're chosen and they're not. We need to stay away from all that sort of thing. But we need to get back to being better people, working on our relationship with God, loving one another, doing good to one another, helping one another. If we're not doing those things, then what is our spirituality worth? What is our religion worth? What is it doing in the world? What is it doing on the world stage except causing more confusion and division and hatred and arguments? And this is very sad to see. So with all that being said, I'm going to stop blabbing at you right now and get over into the spirit box session that I did, asking the spirits what they think of all this spiritual division and debating that's going on in the world today. So I hope you enjoy the session. I'm sure there's going to be a lot that comes through that will give us food for thought. So let's see what the spirits have to say as they observe us in this world, how we're acting, how we're presenting our religions, and how they feel about it. Thank you for listening, and God bless. All right, I have the Paravox app all set up, and we're going to engage in this session asking the spirits what their thoughts are about all of the religious division, fear-mongering, and even fanaticism that's going on in the world today. It seems to be really at an all-time high with a lot of these things. So let's see if Spirit will come through and if they will give their thoughts and their opinion on all of this. And this is a little bit of a delicate topic for some people. So I would ask that before we begin, that my angels and guides draw near, and also that only those spirits that are kind and wise and gentle and on the path of ascension, if only those spirits could possibly come through and help us with this topic. So let's unmute the app. Are there any spirits near me right now who would like to engage in the conversation about the state of religion in the world today? Could you help us with that? hear a lot of words coming through. Before we begin, could I ask, what are your names? Who am I speaking to today, please? Spirit, could you tell me your names, please? Sounds like we have some rowdy spirits coming through already. But let me ask, what do the spirits think of all of the religious division going on in the world today? Is religion heading in the wrong direction in the modern day? Is a lot of man's religions under the influence of impure spirits right now? It sounded like you said they won. Are the negative and impure spirits winning because they're having more influence over men and even our religious leaders and institutions? Do you think religion will turn itself around and get back to the light eventually? And may I ask the spirits, what do you think of a lot of the fear-mongering going on in religion these days? We need to stop it. Are a lot of these fear tactics and religious conspiracy theories, are they coming from the evil and impure spirits? Do people understand they're under the influence of negative spirits when they do these things?
It sounded like someone said Satan's coming. Are we living in what the Bible calls the last days? It is a secret. That is true. Only God knows the time and the day. Are we moving toward a time of the Antichrist? Are we causing a lot of misfortune on ourselves by the choices we're making right now? And spirits, what would your message be to those who get up on the debate stage and debate with one another all the time over whose religion is right? What would you say to those people? Is all the religious debating that's going on in the world causing confusion in the minds of a lot of people? Is this why so many people are turning away from God? Because all of these debates, all of these debating minds and people are confusing a lot of people. What does God think of the state of religion in the world today? What would God tell us right now if he could speak to our religious leaders? Are these false religious teachers helping to bring about the end, the end of time, or the end of days? Let me repeat that question. Are all of these fighting and bickering religious institutions and leaders helping to bring about the end of days with this energy? Are they abusing their power? There's a lot of war going on in the world right now. Some say we're on the brink of World War III. What do the spirits say about that? What do the spirits think of what's happening in the Middle East right now? Is everything that's happening in the Middle East and in Ukraine edging us toward World War III? Are they bringing about their own destruction, those who engage in all this warfare? Who's coming? Who are they? I thought I heard the name Muhammad and the word Imam. Are you trying to tell me something about the religion of Islam? Are the Islamic nations going to go to war with Israel and start World War III? War with Jesus. Are you saying some of these nations and religions are literally at war with Jesus? There are a lot of people either rejecting Jesus or fighting over who he really was. What do the spirits say about that? So in closing, what else would the spirits like to say about the state of religion in the world today? Let me ask you this before we close. There's a lot of religions who say they're the only true religion or they are the chosen people. What do the spirits say about this? Is there a one true religion and a chosen people? Let me ask that again because I didn't quite hear any answers. What do the spirits think about nations or religions that say they are the only one true religion?
Obscene.
Or God's chosen people? It said obscene. Is it obscene that some people would think they are special above all others? Time to stop. All right. Well, I think the spirits are telling me it's time to end this session. And I will respect that. Good. Okay. Well, I thank you for your answers and replies here today. And we will talk again soon. Thank you, Spirit, and goodbye for now. So muting the app, and I hope you enjoyed this session. It sounds like some interesting answers came through, but I won't know until I go and translate all of this. But until we speak next time, I would say stay in love, stay in the light, stay out of all the religious melee and division and fanaticism and fear-mongering. And please certainly do stay away from considering yourself or your group special people who are special above everyone else. I have a very bad feeling in my heart and in my soul that this is all leading nowhere good. It's all culminating in something very bad sooner or later if we don't hit the brakes on this wild ride that we've been on planet Earth. And I hope discussions and sessions like this are helpful to you in your life and in your faith. God bless, and I'll see you next time.